Okay, can you hear us, Kate?
All right, we're good to go. Yeah, she might be on mute. All right, we are ready to start then.
Can everybody hear me okay? I'm on.
Here we go. All right, now we're live. Mask again.
Okay, can everybody online hear me? Hey, can you hear me good? Thank you. Yep. You've got a nice picture right there in front of the screen for everybody to see. Thank you. Good. Welcome back, everybody. We had a summer break here, and now we're back in. There's been some stuff going on here at the library that we'll talk about today. And this is, I'm going to read the notice from this evening's meeting. Notice of the meeting, Board of Library Trustees, September 9th, 2021. This is the meeting on the 13th of September at 7 p.m. The actual time we're starting is 7:05 for the record. In accordance with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. And I'm reading this because we have people online as well, and some people are present representing the board. Section 18 in the governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Board of Library Trustees will be conducted with remote participation and in person. I'm having that in here. Because over here it says no in-person attendance. I just want to make that very clear. That's not what we're doing with our in-person attendance of the members. The public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. Alternative public access to this meeting shall be provided in the following manner, and there are some links here. So moving on here, the agenda shall include the following matters here. So we have this agenda. I'd like to have approval of this agenda. So moved. Okay, don't have a second. Okay, thank you. And any discussion? Discussion. And we'll have a vote. All in favor? Thank you. Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, so we can execute this agenda. Thank you, everybody, for that vote. Can I have a call to order roll call, please? Brand, if you don't mind.
Tom Pappas.
Present.
Peter McCullough.
Yeah.
Stephanie Najjar. Here. Logan Yo. Here. Kate O'Brien. Here. Rick Truhan. Kim Quinn. Jim McAllister.
Here.
Stephanie Dallaire. Brandy. Here. Okay.
So Rich is here. And Ann is here. And Stephanie Dallaire is here. Thank you. We had the minutes handed out to us, given out to us through email. If you have a chance, please take a look at them. And I'm going to ask for approval of the minutes and motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the minutes in our previous meeting.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's take a minute to read, and if there's any discussion, please start that communication.
Okay, how are you?
And can I get you a mask? We're required to wear them in the building.
You have one? I'm glad we did something about the Audubon. Just asking.
Any discussion on the minutes?
I have a comment. Sorry. But it's page. What to do with the what to do with the no fines business? And it's a comment, but it's just it's a typo and it's a
I made a comment, and that was on
page
page
10.
10, right?
Or
It's at the, after the proposal.
so does George approve or not approve?
I'm sorry?
So does George approve or not approve?
From what I remember, and please keep me honest with the board here, but what I understand about George Peabody is he was a philanthropist. He wanted to make sure that services were rendered to the patrons without charge.
Okay. So he did not support everything. Okay.
Yeah. So we're not charging fees now for over the
Right.
books.
No. It's just a negative.
Oh.
Didn't not support. Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh.
he didn't support.
Can we make that clear? Can we make this please?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Andy. You're always good on those details. They did not support. Okay, any other amendments you'd like to see with this? You guys already have done that, so all in favor? Anybody opposed? Okay, the ayes have it, none opposed. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Receipt of communications. We haven't had any communications yet.
I did not see any in the box this morning.
Okay, thank you. And then we come up to Kate. No, because Kate is out tonight and taking over. So if you would please
Stand so you can get a better. All right. So director's reports to the Board of Library Trustees as given by the Assistant Director for September. First item is staffing. Since we last met, we have hired 10 aides for a total of 15 aides who now work between all 3 locations. We no longer have any dedicated aides for any particular location. Both new and returning aides have embraced this new model, and we are thankful to have returned to full staffing, which allows us to return to full hours as of Labor Day. The former teen/children's assistant librarian, Amy Titus, accepted the position of senior South Branch librarian earlier this summer. She is doing a fantastic job in her new position. Former aide Amory Thomas accepted the vacated position of teen/children's assistant librarian, and she is also doing a wonderful job working between both of those departments. Senior custodian Sean Meager is out on medical leave. The position left vacant by the retirement of our other senior custodian this past May is being posted this week. But in the meantime, we're thankful to our part-time custodian, Dave Farley, for going above and beyond to keep all 3 buildings functioning, and for staff for jumping in to help while we wait for a new custodian to begin. Next item is reopening. All 3 library locations are now fully open to their pre-pandemic hours. This summer was particularly hard for staff given vacations, leaves, training of new staff, but the light at the end of the tunnel, i.e. full staffing, helped us all soldier through. There is a definite sense of relief among the existing staff, as for the past year and a half has been both emotionally and physically exhausting. But we can optimistically take a deep breath now and hope for better days ahead. The city put into place a municipal building mask requirement this past week, which is a relief to all staff and many patrons. We do provide accommodations for those who are unable or unwilling to wear a mask while in the building, and we have been providing masks to anyone who needs or wants one. The return of masking also means that we are now able to resume limited indoor programming, which is exciting to us all. All plastic barriers, hand sanitizer dispensers, and wipes dispensers remain in place. Next item is budget. I have provided you with the current budget from what I looked through and from what the bookkeeper went over with me. There's nothing of concern. Kate is completing the annual MBLC finance reporting that is due in October, and there will be no need to apply for a waiver this year. Next item is programs and initiatives. Outdoor summer programming was a huge success, especially for children's programming. Senior children's librarian Allison Bridgewater and our other children's staff held outdoor story times and yoga classes nearly every day of the week all summer, and our patrons were very happy to return to some semblance of normal. We plan on introducing limited indoor programming in October, following the health department's guidance, which requires masking, distancing of 3 feet between all staff and patrons, and keeping a list of attendees and contact information for 3 weeks to use only if contact information is necessary, contact tracing is necessary. Next item is Audubon's. As Director Merlin mentioned in the last meeting, our FY22 budget has been finalized at a level that guarantees the Cleveland Library MBLC certification. The foundation approved Director Merlin's request to restart the Audubon Preservation, albeit at a reduced level for this year. Director Merlin is proposing that the board approve the restarting of this process using funds from state aids that were allocated for this purpose and that was used for this before. And the last one is building and grounds. I'm sure everybody will be so surprised to hear that our elevator is broken. It has been for around 2 weeks now. City Facilities Director Jim Hafey, Trustee Pappas, and Trustee Shruhan have been discussing the issue, which we've been told comes down to the bio oil in the system from years ago. We are waiting on a replacement valve. It is slow to arrive due to supply chain delays, and City Elevator will replace the valve once we have it and drain and replace all of the oil in the system. Director Merlin was good enough to provide a direct summary from an email from Jim Hafey, the facilities director, which I'll read to you here. As it turns out, the bio oil approved for use during the installation of this elevator was a terrible misstep. Not only did it not perform hydraulically as it should have, but after repeated use under pressure, it becomes gelatinous to the point of being like peanut butter with a corrosive quality. Yeah. Yes, the oil was replaced to the greatest extent possible, but it is now the small amount of residual bio oil that continues to cause the disruptions. The only solution at this point is to replace the oil again and delete the problem. Warranties are only valid for use under normal conditions, and the bio oil was outside manufacturer's specifications. I've looked into strainers and filters to separate the bio oil, but they will not work, end quote. Director Merlin is in nearly constant contact with Director Hafey, who has been extremely helpful and on the ball with all of this. And she will update the board as soon as the repairs are scheduled. And that's it. I am more than happy to answer any questions that I can, and will defer to Director Merlin what I cannot.
Well, thank you for that. Do I have a motion to accept the Oh, I'm sorry. Let me see.
Question. Questions.
Yes, please. I didn't realize you were.
I want to know who approved the use of the bio oil in the first place.
That is
and we have a lawsuit pending somewhere there.
that is an excellent question. I don't have the paperwork for that, and I do not know.
And I can share something with you afterward. I got some communications that I've been trying to decipher. What the root causes are, and why we need to have problems. Things like gigantic gas pumps that have like a 30-year lifespan, if I had to guess, because they're rugged devices. And I'm just kind of concerned, I'm very concerned that we're not really addressing the root causes. What's the oil before? It's the residual bio left in there. And they're saying there's some kind of interaction chemically between the two oils that causes another issue. Then I read some things about there's different types of bio oil, and we should have been using the other. And then I have a very good defense in the and talking about how this product is so superior and just not understood. This is a defense, a very defensive posture. And then I'm looking at, and I'm hearing things about the heater itself heating the oil and causing it to be damaged somehow chemically. And I'm thinking, all right, enough about the technical piece of it, but there's somebody who said, this is some really cool stuff, really critical system. And it seems to me, and I can't say it is, because I don't have enough information for what I'm trying to look at this communication, it sounds like all the details that were needed to make a decision, a technical decision, to suggest going ahead and using this type of oil, it wasn't done. That's what it seems like to me. And I don't understand if it was or it wasn't. But I don't think, I'm worried that we're not getting the root cause of that, so we continually need to maintain the elevator and continually fail. So there's something that's not right about it. Now, I hear things we hear about not caustic but acidic properties of the oil, and I think there's a red herring that previous speakers we don't understand what that means. Maybe all oils are acidic. So calling it acidic may have nothing to do with it. The first thing that went into my mind if I jumped to conclusions is that what are we doing? Are we wearing away patches and bearings and things like that? Because they have been tested before. I don't know. So we did start some communications with him, looking at this, and I've had discussions with him regarding the elevator. It's like, why can't we just get it right? Either it's broken or we don't know how to get it properly, or the companies that we have. I'm not sure. So there's a lot of open questions, a lot of things we could ask. What I'd like to do, as a board, we hear about this all the time, and we hear about the elevator. It's become kind of a humorous thing. Because, I mean, if it is a humorous, you're only fine. And I think we should start paying a little bit bigger more depth attention to what's happening and try to get some kind of a root cause as to what is it that's actually being done here and why we want to correct the problem, or are we not sure that it's going to correct the problem? Is this some kind of a practice that seems to work in other situations that's different for us? So it's almost as if somebody's going to work in our house. We need to ask some pointed questions of, is this going to do what I want it to do? And why are you actually doing it? We'll be somewhat pains in doing so, but I think it's necessary. So I'm not with the questions on the issue. There's more to do.
I would refer to the list programming. But if the viscosity of the oil is breaking down to heat, something is wrong, or it's the wrong oil.
I'm not sure. We're drawing conclusions, and I just want to kind of caution everybody.
I think it's really the use of elevator because it's trying to better consistency oil.
And again, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it peanut butter. It's not going to be peanut butter at all. It's like the higher viscosity and something is exaggerated.
No, it's not actually peanut butter. It's the texture that the oil is turning into. That's the closest analogy that they could find.
We've heard this so many times. It's been washed, and no one's upset with you. We flushed it, we changed it, we changed fluid, and it's beyond me. And if individuals feel disabled in some way, you can't get value of the fluid. And I know it's not for lack of effort. I just wonder if you have a city person who takes care of these major things. There's problems there too. I don't know where they can go.
Well, it's city, these are building directors for the city.
Jim Hafey is the facilities director, and he's only.
Reached out to him, and I saw the communications, and he's been extremely helpful. And he knows about this, and we just need to learn a little bit more.
Is tenure?
I don't know how long he has been. Yeah. I believe this goes back to the installation of the theoretically more AD accessible elevator about 10 years ago.
And does that kind of answer
Yeah.
your question?
No.
What Any other questions? Okay, all in favor for the signatures?
Yes. I would just like to commend the staff for all the, what they've gone through with it, and bringing it back, 15 age. Some of them were working before,
Yes,
so.
Fine.
People have been doing something that they want to back. So that's excellent. So, if you just get through the, taking care of personnel, it's it'll be all good. But thank you very much for all the work.
I will pass that along to the staff. I think that'll be very meaningful to them.
And I think that also that we can, emails with the state is that the concern, one of the first concern that people in mind is kids learning moving books and things like that. How do they move? And we're thinking about most of that, in cases, not everybody. is
We've been
saying-
taking it basically sort of in manageable chunks at a
Right.
time. So obviously without the elevator, we're not able to manage the book carts from floor to floor. So, which we appreciate. Yeah. As to my knowledge, the staff has been taking it as slowly as they need to. Director Merlin and I have been encouraging the staff to only do what they are capable of and to please see us for help. It's been a little more challenging without a full-time custodian because prior to Sean's injury, he was incredibly helpful to us in terms of being a little extra muscle for some of that stuff that we could get done a little bit easier. But I cannot speak highly enough of our staff as to how much they just step up and do what needs to be done, and they do it with a smile on their face, and we can't ask for anything more than that. So, but the director and I have been encouraging them to be as cautious as necessary. In some cases, yes, I've actually seen, we have the bags that we transport from between all three of our locations. I have seen librarians filling those to a capacity that they're only able to lift rather than filling them fully and using those to take them between the stairs. Correct.
It's just like this here, just because it's not very safe if you're walking up the books like this. You have the ability to balance.
Sean, you have an idea how
Yes, for asking stuff, that's the fifth thing.
Not at this time. I believe we're waiting for a doctor's report from it. No, I believe it was over the weekend. Yes, it was just not this past weekend, but the one prior. So we've been without Sean for a little over a week.
That's the thing that
Motion to approve.
questions. And the things to mind, like, if you don't have to study a stuff, or you're having troubles, I mean, even with cleaning here, you get there, if you're having an issue at all, you just
So far, to my knowledge, Dave Farley, our part-time custodian, has been keeping up with the basic custodial staff, cleaning the bathrooms. I know he's been doing branch transports when he's been able. I don't know. I would have to defer to Kate as to whether or not it was every day or not. But he has been doing some branch transports. Director Merlin and I did some branch transports last week in our cars with the bags. Yeah, knock on wood. So far, we have been managing. We are extremely grateful to Human Resources that they are posting that position this week. And so we are hoping that we'll move through that process quickly so that Sean can take all the time that he needs to recover fully.
how long does it kind of take? Does it take a week? Does it take a month?
I'll be perfectly honest, I don't know, especially where the library doesn't do the direct hiring for this position because the custodians are now under the facilities budget. I don't know. Kate would be a better person to answer that.
Right, any other questions, any other discussions on the director's reports? Okay, we all voted on, motion. We already have a motion, and all in favor, please. Any opposed? Kate, are you in favor? There we go. Thank you. All right, so move it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Al, for representing Kate and the director. Five, reports of the committee is the state's investigation and discussion by the committee. So these are committee reports, for building and grounds. But I think we've had a large part of this is discussion on the elevator and what it comes. And I don't think the last time we met, we didn't talk about this, but this, I'm going to send this out to everybody, but I will send everybody else to share with me. Al and Kate were on the roof of the library. And you can see the nice video on the top of the roof of the video. And the reason was not because we wanted to take pictures of the food, but from the last time we had flooding coming into the site, when it was recommended that we actually walked through these buildings and just try to look at what might be an issue. And just make a list of those things. So we went through that activity and I'll be sending it out. I apologize for that. It might be a nice photo option for the Salem News. Let them know that we're actually doing things that are very active for this library. To start supporting these buildings. So yeah, that's something that we did. The building in the grounds. So that's all I would have to add here. So Audubon kids.
That's right. You can't believe that. She was previous.
And everything on the Audubon kids.
I don't know what the foundation was support.
Thank you
The
for that.
restoration. So,
Thank you. Personnel, John McAllister.
Nothing more further than again, kudos for keeping the staff, keeping the person. Says a lot in the staff that goes for a long time. Makes it a lot easier. They know it.
If I might apologize, we had a bagel and coffee, for the staff here, we're reopening. Was that after the last meeting? I think it was, right?
I think it was.
And so thank you to everybody who participated and contributing to this event. We were saying thank you to the staff for all that they're doing. Welcome you back for we essentially had been laid off, right? So we welcome everybody back. And it was our way to say thank you. So thank you to everybody who participated. So I just want to add that. Well, you were about to say something. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. I was just going to say, I think it's been a nice level of continuity for our teachers as well to see friendly faces that they recognize from pre-pandemic times to coming back. So we were extremely lucky and extremely grateful that the employees that came back were able to do so.
And they seem like they love their job. They're very helpful and very cheerful. So very pleasant experience coming in.
I'm glad to hear that.
Anything else for something? Thank you. Policy and procedures. Kate O'Brien, you're on.
Nothing new to report.
Thank you. Liaison to the Friends of the Community Library.
So from what I found out, the Friends group will be now absorbed by the foundation going forward.
Thank you. That's good.
So I don't know anything further than that. I don't know when.
they talked about.
Yeah. So I found out through Al. I don't know.
To my knowledge, I think the more formalized procedures are waiting on for the next foundation meeting for further discussion with the foundation.
Okay.
Because it hasn't happened yet. It's just
It has not,
Just
not officially.
There's a lot of legal stuff that have to take on paperwork.
From what I understand, it's not exceptionally complicated. There's a small amount of fairly straightforward paperwork, and I believe Martha Holden will be getting some additional guidance from legal people and finance people just to make sure that everything goes smoothly.
Okay, thank you. Liaison to the Community Historical Society, and Stephanie Villar, President. I can get a communication from the Historical Society, but I haven't been passing them on because I'm not the committee chair. And I'm just wondering if it might be helpful if I begin doing this with somebody who would be interested in this. If you are, just talk to me after the meeting or something. It's okay. It's okay. My concern here is that we're supposed to be building bridges across these organizations so we know what each other is doing. And right now, that's not happening. And I have a concern about that. And I really like to build that bridge up and make sure that we keep that flow of communication happening. So if anybody's interested in helping with that, let me know. We can talk about it. Yeah, go ahead, please.
I have been, as of recently started, I've been volunteering at the Community Historical Society. And I did talk with Nora Bigelow, she's the assistant curator, and explained to her about our new archivist.
Our local history librarian.
And she was very interested in getting in touch with her and doing some communication and seeing, learning more about it. I don't know where that went, but
to my knowledge, Catherine, our local history
Yeah.
senior librarian, who's very interested in that as well. So.
Yeah. So I'll be there on Wednesday, which is this Wednesday. And so I'll bring it up again tomorrow and see what.
Thank you. And Michael Fanti now is president. Is Michael Fanti president?
Yes.
Yeah, so that was a change since after I was. Yes, he stepped down, so, and then Michael Fanti. So yeah, if somebody's interested, please give me a shout.
It's amazing what they have there. It's just to catalog it.
Okay, thank you, Ann. And over here, we have liaison to the Community Institute Library on Foundation stuff.
The last foundation, we had an events meeting, I should say, on July 21st. That was their last events meeting. And for the Topsville Fair, which is coming up soon, in the beginning of October, they're going to be selling bags. They have the logo on the bags and pens. They're your little bags, I believe. And there may be some 3D printing opportunities being described in the those bags, I heard. Kate, do you recall anything further than that?
So I believe, so we're doing 2 days at the fair and selling reusable bags and then pens.
I don't know if there was any 3D printing of any kind going on, or was that not going to happen?
I can see that you're talking, but I cannot hear you. Sorry.
I guess there was an opportunity for 3D printing items.
I don't recall anything about that.
So volunteers at the foundation are going to toss the field the weekend of Columbus Day weekend, is that correct? Yes, Columbus Day weekend. So they would sell,
Yes.
the money is going to the foundation. I was not able to attend that meeting, so I knew that was part of a big part of what they wanted to do. I don't know. Hey, was there anything else in meeting that is worth updating?
No, I don't think so.
There was the anticipating the geranium sale with chrysanthemum sale, but I haven't heard anything. Probably. Yeah. So then we'll probably hear more about that one.
And that concludes the committee reports. Do I have a motion to second? Thank you. And we've had a discussion, and is there any further discussion before we take the vote? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Are you in favor, Kate? You receive the committee reports? Thumbs up. Thank you.
I can't actually hear a lot of what you're saying, but I'm in agreement, yes.
Oh, good. Okay, any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everybody. And we have unfinished business here. There's, I don't know if this would be unfinished business, but last meeting I asked people to walk into our libraries, and, you know, just get the experience of what's happening, what you see, and I just want to go around the table and see if anybody has anything to share. I'm going to share my points is that my son had summer reading, and he came into the library with their masks on, and he went to look for his book, and he couldn't find it. And then the name escapes me. She's wonderful. She was at the door, and she says, "Well, what couldn't you find?" And Joanne, I forget.
Joanna is on leave, so when was
I
this?
sent an email to Kate saying she was wonderful.
Oh, okay.
So he was able to find his book with the help of our librarian. And so he got a summer reading done. So that was a really nice experience. And the other thing, too, is we got to experience the self-checkout. My son goes, "Well, how do we check out?" I'm headed for the desk and wait a minute. That thing over there, that's a self-checkout thing. Let's try it out. So I got a picture of him. I sent Kate saying, "This thing's working great. We're able to take care of this." And he checked out his own book. So again, the staff friendly and helpful, and the technology here made it self-sufficient to go ahead and take care of our business without bothering anybody. And those staff were very safe in the glass, but also able to interact with us very safely. So it was a very good experience.
Well, now that you're an expert on that, I don't know if your son has his own phone, but you can download the MeScan app and actually check out the book on your phone, which is an even cooler experience.
Wow, that's cool.
MeScan.
Yes, it's if you can enable those location services while you're in the app only. It recognizes where you are. It says, "Welcome to the Peabody Institute Library." The first time you log in, if you log in your library card, it remembers you for future interactions, so you don't even have to scan your library card for transactions you do on your phone. You can check things out while you're in the stacks. You can check things out while you're on your way out the door. It's a very, very cool experience.
And of course, we did the walkthrough and all that. So I tried to get here into the branches and made it to the main library more than that. So it was a very good, positive experience. I also introduced myself as a library trustee, just to be friendly and explain. And, I ask people if everything's okay. How's it working here? Do you feel comfortable and safe and all that? And everybody's positive. I don't hear any negative feedback when I talk to people, so it's a good environment.
I'm very glad to hear that.
So if you can go around the table, we'll start with the end.
Well, how can I experience with that? And I would suggest that somehow it be communicated to the staff that the trustees are really trying to do this, to introduce themselves to the staff, very positive and friendly and very way. In my situation, by introducing myself as a library trustee was misinterpreted by the staff person and created a bit of an unpleasant situation. But I think that if the staff knows that we're doing this as an outreach, they will appreciate what we're doing.
I believe it has been communicated to the staff, but I can double check to make sure.
Yeah. Otherwise, the MeScan is wonderful.
Brad, and
I did not go into any libraries, however, I have been planting outside the West Village Library. I have not yet been able to make it up here, but in the fall, we will be happily noticing fall flowers and pumpkins.
Stephanie?
I've been participating in the flower sale and not to school got out and nothing here inside.
Sadly to say, that they do need to do so bad.
Oh, really?
I think I did something wrong. I don't have a real done that way, so I tried.
Yeah. And I tend to come in, I just try to stay away from it. But I can't.
So I'll be getting it well. Thank you. Don?
I made a trip a little bit differently from the library. I went to visit your Peter's Grave because from time to time, we've had an issue where there's been some problems where flowers have not been planted. Sometimes the gardens don't get it. Sometimes we went as a group of trustees and happily announced that there's nice, appropriate flowers that can withstand the weather and everything else. All the gravestones that we've been wanting to stand for were all upright. And some of them had a lot of room for them to be broken, and they've been repaired. So I was pleasantly surprised to see that. So that's something that we really it's being looked at from that. For me, really important. I trust all the staff to take care of the library. A lot of times, George, sometimes be a couple of years, and people have to go back and and now the garden club are really and the cemetery not. But someone's doing a great job.
No garden club.
I don't know who's doing it, but there's more stuff in there and everything else.
Historical Society?
It
Interested people?
must be interesting people. So,
Boy
yeah,
Scouts?
it's well adorned.
The Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts,
It's
Whatever.
well adorned.
Eagle Scouts.
Basically, 41.
This is the first time I've been in the library in a long time, and I walked into the tea room, which looks phenomenal. I mean, the wall with the chalkboard and the tables in there, it's come so far since I worked in the tea room when I was 21 years old, and I'll be 30 this year, so it looks beautiful. And then I can't wait to make a stop in Southbridge, because that was my home for a couple of years. So now that they're open full hours, I can't wait to stop in and visit Betsy and some of the new aids that are over there and the new Southbridge library. So I'm most excited really to get back down there. And for my way home, I live up. So I'm really excited for that open flowers now. So
So I usually, when I visit the library, I always get a physical book. And I think the thing I find interesting about the newsstand technology is the main purpose of the reason why we bought it was because of the pandemic, mainly. But it's such a convenience that it frees up the staff to do other tasks. You know, instead of having to stand behind the counter and check everybody out, people can check themselves out. And on top of that, it's a rare occurrence when I come into the library and pick out a book off the counter, off the shelf, because I've always reserved the book. I want to make sure it's there. So if I see a book in the bookstore that interests me, I go on the library app and see, hey, we even have that book in the library. If we do, what can I do? Then reserve the book to make sure I get it. As a matter of fact, I just reserved, I alone can fix it. Yeah, a book about Donald Trump in the last year of his presidency should be interesting reading. And I can't wait to check that out. A little different than when I used to check books out as a kid. I was in hours in the library, especially the children's room.
Standing beautiful.
Yeah.
It's very satisfying.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the cards and the dates. Oh my God, yeah. My question is though, with that app, you put the newsstand app right in your phone, and they can check the book out like literally as they're walking out the door. How does the little alarm thing go off on the door? If somebody tried to walk out without checking out the book.
There's really no more or less risk than when people had to, possibly wait in line in order to have somebody check out the book.
Yeah.
So it honestly, to my knowledge, it hasn't been an issue. And our patrons are really largely very wonderful, and we pretty much trust them that if they do accidentally forget to check out a book, that it'll find its way home.
Yeah, because I remember these two, like, above the book or something. Like they were deactivating some kind of a.
Oh, I think that was the RFID technology. We
Yeah.
don't have that here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Who's security of our books?
I don't.
Oh, okay, I'm
Yeah.
sure. I didn't say that.
Yeah, no, some libraries do the RFID, so, but that's, yeah. And if you ever do see a book that you cannot find within the Noble system, we do take requests. So you are welcome to come to any staff member, and we have little book forms that you can fill out. So if there's a book that you would like to read that the library does not have, we very much want to know about it.
I thought usually you would go by the bestseller list.
We go by a lot of different metrics.
Yeah.
The bestseller list is definitely one of them, and we always try to make sure that they're on. But if, sometimes an obscure title or an older title or, a title that we might have other books on that topic, sometimes it's, on the rare occasion that people will come and say, oh, I noticed I couldn't find this book.
Hmm.
And so we will happily put in order for that.
I'd like to just remind people that I'm not charitable because I live in South Community. I always come here. No matter, this is my library. So I think we need to make an effort to go to there just like we wouldn't ordinarily go to it. Certainly never go to South Community.
I'm not gonna go to South Haven when I can walk to West Beach.
That's a really good point, though. That's a good point.
Scope
You know,
of interest in this.
just go to West BB. Yeah. Yeah.
I like the historic.
It's a good idea. It's always teasing.
Yeah.
It was a good idea. It was always teasing.
Right, right.
We go there.
I feel like preferences based on the parking situation and there's certain, people love their own libraries. I think it's great. It's kind of makes it great about our patrons is they and their preferences. But for us to visit, I think is a really good idea.
Like a personal thing.
It is, yeah.
That's the beauty of the South and the West.
Yeah.
Is that they're so that folks are there and the neighborhood library.
Yeah.
They really are.
And they get to know the patrons very well.
Oh yeah.
And,
Yeah.
my father-in-law used to ask me when he always wanted to decide things. And they knew what he liked. Yep. And he could tell him, you better move because he by a certain author. And he was treated like a kid, and I'm sure everyone else was.
Oh yeah.
Everyone else was a very nice, friendly situation. But I hear you, the story, concept of this library, the picture of things, and all that. I still get a kick when I look at that. About country's first millionaire. Shut me up now and get 15 minutes.
Okay, order. So, all right, that's unfinished business. We didn't have anything else other than that. But I think it's tonight. So can we move to new business?
Yeah.
I apologize. Thank you for being honest. And please, Audubon, sorry, discussion.
Just want to vote to approve the request to continue the funding for
Using the state funds that we're allocated.
yeah. And I think we're doing budgeting.
You making a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second. Second.
Second. Thank you. Any discussion?
Is Gabby here?
Okay,
I was worried for a while.
and Stephanie's not, Stephanie's thank you. And let's put it to a vote, everybody. All in favor?
Yeah.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Stephanie. Anything else for unfinished business? I apologize. I don't want to just railroad people and not have them bring anything up here. I think it's very important. Anything else?
Is there any clarification to do on online votes? Something you have to approve online?
I believe you approved the all-staff meeting.
Oh, yeah.
You approved the library being closed to the public for the morning of September 20th.
No, I couldn't take place unless there was to be a tiebreaker, so, I wasn't able to vote. So does that need to be ratified, or does it? What was the actual vote, please?
The vote, everybody who responded approved.
There was a hearing start to close the library and those certain hours of
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't had to for anything else.
Can we capture that in the minutes too? Thank you. Anything else for, which would be, anything else for unfinished business? Kate, anything for unfinished business?
Nope.
Thank you. Anybody else? Let's move on to the next agenda item for new business. Does anybody have any new business for this evening?
I'm not sure where this falls, but I wonder if in the new budget that you're working on, you reinstate that line item for trustee expenses. Remember there was a small,
I talked, yeah, because I brought that up at one of the meetings. Back.
Is this for our dinners?
Yeah, and the, yeah, so these are,
Yeah.
yeah, more for me, it's more about being able to, people have recognition thing. And I know Kate was gonna kind of see what kind of came out, and I don't think we had a discussion yet. So we're separating people, we'll have to defer that, I guess, to Kate, 'cause she was the one that was going to follow up.
Yeah, she would be the one to handle that.
So we'll have to review that question.
Maybe we'll capture it and leave it too, so we won't forget it. Anything else for new business? Resolution. Looking for resolution. Move on. And then here, any matter suggested by the trustee, the library director fire commissions, the agenda, actually has been brought up. Thus, any matter suggested by the person in writing, to the library director, prior commissions, is anybody? No? Okay. So that brings to the end of our agenda, everybody, and I think we need to make a date for the next meeting.
Can I just raise something? I'm talking with you about this. This is just sort of think about this kind of thing, you know. The Light Commission, don't forget to vote tomorrow, but the Light Commission has attracted a lot of attention of late, and so people are paying attention to the Light Commissioners and what they do and how they do it, and it's going to be an interesting election. And I just mentioned it to Tom at some point. I said, why don't people pay more attention to the library trustees? We're as invisible as the Light Commissioners were invisible until this issue of the people connection. Otherwise, they just keep doing their business. So why are we so invisible in the community? And why aren't there people out there clamoring to run for library trustee? I don't know what the answer is, but I just raise it as something we might kind of try to do.
I think there has to just be more outreach, more discussion about what we do in general, because honestly, I didn't know years ago, I really wasn't aware of the library trustee role in the sense of what it really is and what it does. And I just think people need to understand it and be educated. Like we have for trustee, Jennifer Smith. So, you know, she happened to be, she was a supporter of the library for years, donor, and I happened to bump into her at the middle school, and she was 7. And she said her name, I turned, I heard her talking, and I went up to her, I said, "Are you Jennifer Smith, who supports our library?" And she's like, "Yes, I am." So then I just started talking with her, and then I opened up a conversation, "You should run for trustee, you're such a, you know, you're such a supporter, and you care so much." And I think we just have to have those conversations with people and talk about what we do, and you're chit-chatting with people and say, "Oh, you know, I'm a library trustee," because people don't know. They just don't know. Everyone knows what a board council does, everybody, because they vote on our budget, and we have definitely know this is going that way.
and I just think we're just not visible because we're becoming, I mean, the library is very visible, but our role is not. And it's just because of what it is. I don't know that it's anything different.
The Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners, which is the same people who decide on our waiver status or our certification status, they actually have wonderful trustee advocacy suggestions and courses and orientations. And I'm willing to bet that they would have some wonderful suggestions for how to get further out into the community, how to make the position known, and subsequently also making the library more known as well.
They've also had, when I've been to the one in Waltham years ago, between the trustee, for training for these roles.
Mm-hmm.
They're big resources. They tell you about the resources available. And right now, I get emails all the time from them.
Okay.
And there are people who ask questions about, has this happened in your library? How did you deal with it with the trustee? So there are resources if you go to the website. And I can forward an email to folks.
The Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners. You can Google MBLC. I believe it's MBLC.org.
So yeah, I did go to Waltham. It was like, let's say years ago, I pointed out that, if you're a new trustee, you should go to this. So I went right away. And you do get a whole bunch of information, and you do get into the system, and you do get people. So I'm going to see if I can forward some of that.
Really think that might be, I don't know if it's a discussion for this board or the foundation or a combination of both, but I feel like the way the world is moving with technology and social media, that we almost need to have someone that would take on social media, like having a true Instagram, or whether it's Facebook, Instagram, whatever it be, that is doing it along the way in a consistent way, and getting it out there, because you guys can't do everything. You're running the building, you're running the staff, and PR is such a big animal in and of itself that I feel like there's going to be a little bit of a dedicated position to that, and it could be volunteer, but it would have to be a volunteer position, or it could be a paid position going
Could it be a
forward.
subcommittee? We don't have a
We
subcommittee.
have the talent to really know how to do it, right? But it's almost like it truly, I'm speaking for myself, I do the relationship team, they are just so much more at it and understand it. For me, they do a much larger learning curve to take on. And I feel like it's that generation. There's even a volunteer, and we can feel like someone in college that's doing, project work or community service in college that's learning. This is that never, whether it's a different person each year or however, we can talk about that. And we feel like we need to delve into that a little more. To give just not the library visibility, but I think we could incorporate us as a board and as part of that visibility and all of the whole library system functions. Right, as a community, whether it's the fundraisers, whether it's the trustees, and just kind of getting that visibility out there and reaching out in a more effective way.
I actually do a lot of the social media I write the social media guidelines and the branding guidelines for the library, so I'd be more than happy to discuss that further with you at any time, because like you said, there is a learning curve, but there's also there are also basic guidelines that need to be in place to make sure that the message getting across is consistent. I think what the trustees can do now is just making sure that you like the Peabody Library's Facebook page. If you have an Instagram account, like the Peabody Library's Instagram account. You can follow us on Twitter if that's your thing as well. And when you see a post from the library, feel free to share it with your larger circle. So post it on your page and send it out to your greater community. And then all of a sudden the library circle and by extension the trustees circles start getting larger and larger and larger.
And I think in the school, I think the way it goes that too is to do that outreach from the school, because every single student, at least middle and high school, have an Instagram account and Facebook account. And if that could be incorporated in some way to get that younger generation in that loop of a light and this and that, where just get it out there.
From what I understand, the teens are very heavy into TikTok right now, and that is something our teen librarian is all over and extremely talented at.
How interesting. So yeah, so that they've gotten that. Or is there a way to, without invading privacy, of community privacy issues, dealing with, look at who are the donors to the library? It's what you do, who we are. No, but who are those people who, if, like this person we know because yes, is a donor private, and take a rather personal approach. Some of those people who obviously care enough to give us lots of money, like the delays, you know, like that, the little packets, they see a lot, but gee, we need more than we see where their money's going, and have some control over it. I don't know, it just made me think.
And it was something we've been discussing about putting a positive message out there.
Recording stopped.